Hello guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We are doing completing the square, which is lesson 32.2 from Springboard. I have your objective right here. I want you to make sure that you are actually writing this stuff down, just to be sure in case I do a notebook check by you uploading this information into Google Classroom, you can get credit. So take down all of the notes. This video should not take too much of your time, but make sure you're completing everything. Alright, so the objective for today is the scholars will be able to solve quadratic equations and analyze quadratic equations by completing the square with at least 80% mastery. So we did square root and quadratic functions last week, well, the week before spring break, so we're going to kind of still go with that trend. Today I am wanting you to simply just to learn how to complete the square and not solve anything per se. We're just going to focus on completing the square, and I'm going to do a few examples for you, and then you'll have some to do on your own. Alright, so the first thing I want to look at is this right here to the left, where it says x squared equals 49. So I want you to know that this is what we call a perfect square. A perfect square is basically when you have a number that can be broken up by two numbers that are the same number. So x squared, the square root of x squared would be x, and the square root of 49 would be 7. Now, what we learned last week is that this symbol, this plus or minus symbol, would be befitting for this, and so we need to use this. So in this case, x equals plus or minus 7, or positive or negative 7, and you also could have written it as x equals negative 7 and x equals 7. Alright, so if you go ahead and look over here, I have a note for you. You could pause this video to go ahead and write this note and then pick back up. The note says, creating a perfect square trinomial on the left and a constant number on the right side of a quadratic equation is called completing the square. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a trinomial and we are going to create a perfect square trinomial on the left hand side of the equal sign and a constant number on the right hand side of the equal sign, and that will be completing the square. So if any of you forgot what a trinomial is, I've written it here for you. X squared plus bx plus c, and I'm going to put equal 0. So we can have the mindset of something being on one side of the equal sign. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into the examples that I want to do for you, and I'm going to also write notes down. So let me move this. I hope you've already written down your note. If you have not, you can always pause it like I said and go back. Alright, so the first example we're going to do is called example A, and I am going to say we have x squared plus 4x minus 2 equal 0. Alright, so step number 1, we are going to look and see if our leading coefficient, the leading coefficient is the number that is in front of the first term, which is a 1 because it's x squared. So the first step you should take is check the leading coefficient. Okay? When we check it, we have to decide a few things. Is it a 1? If the answer is yes, we're going to move on to the other steps. If the answer is no, we are going to then divide each term by the leading coefficient. Okay? All of these are going to be a 1, so don't fret. Alright? So now the second step is to move the constant from the left side to the right side. And when I'm saying left or right side, I'm literally meaning from the left side or the right side of the equal sign. So let's go ahead and draw our river. I want to move the constant. We have to identify what the constant here is now. Remember, the constant is a number that does not have a variable. So that number would be -2. I'm going to move -2 from the left side of the equal sign and put it on the right side. I am going to do that by adding 2 because you have to do what's the opposite. So here's a -2. So now I'm going to add 2. That cancels out. I am going to bring this down. So x squared plus 4x equal. Then we have 0 plus 2, which equals 2. Alright? So, I'm going to rewrite this here. Now that I've done those steps, I want you guys to see that I am now inputting some random boxes because that's going to help me with my next step. Alright, step number 3. I am going to take half of b. Where is b? B is right here. Remember, if we had ax squared plus bx plus c. I'm going to take half of b and then square it. So, what is half of 4? Half of 4 is 2. I am supposed to now square 2. Excuse me. 2 squared equal 4. Okay? I am going to take this 4 and put it in my empty squares. Alright. So, whatever, after I've taken half of b and squared it, whatever I get, I'm going to put it in my empty squares or in my empty boxes. Alright, so now our job is moving on to step 4. And step 4 is going to be factor the perfect square trinomial. Alright, on the left side. Again, when I'm talking about sides, I'm talking about on the sides of the equal sign. Okay? So let me go ahead and rewrite this here without all of the boxes. Okay. So I need to factor. Remember, this number, we have to add 2 numbers to get this number. For this number, we have to multiply 2 numbers to get that number. So let's go ahead and look at factors of 4. We have 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. We know that 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. But 1 plus 4, that equals 5. We don't need 5, right? We need 4. So what is 2 plus 2? That equals 4. So 2 and 2 are our numbers. So now we know that x plus 2 times x plus 2, that gives us this right here, right? That gives us that. So this also equals x plus 2 squared because it's 2 of them, so we can square it. But then what happens to these 2 numbers? We're just going to add them. So 2 plus 4 equals what? 6. And this is what I'm looking for. Alright, so now we have x plus 2 squared equals 6. We're going to stop there. That is what I'm looking for. So let's do one more example together. Alright, so example B. We have x squared plus 10x minus 6 equal 0. Alright, so you should be able to follow along without me writing the steps down again, but I am going to talk the steps. So the first step is to identify if the leading coefficient is 1. If it is 1, then we're going to move on to step number 2. If it is not 1, then we're going to have to do some dividing. And in this case, it is 1 because there's no number in front of the x squared. So that means it's an invisible 1. So step number 2 is we are going to move the constant, which in this case is a -6, from the left side of the equal sign and put it on the right. How do we do that? We're going to do the opposite and add 6 because that's a -6 and that cancels out. I'm going to bring down this part, x squared plus 10x equal 0 plus 6 is 6. Now, this is the point to where I need to add my empty boxes. Okay. Alright, so when I add my empty boxes, I now move on to taking half of b. Half of b is where, you guys? Oh, yes, that's correct. You got it. Half of b is going to be 5 because half of 10 is b, is going to be 5. So we take half of 10 and then we have to square it. So 5 squared equals 25, and now we know that 25 is going to go here and it's going to go there. Okay? All right, now we have to factor 25. So we have to find two numbers that we can multiply to get 25. And then those same two numbers, we have to add them to get 10. So let's write out here factors of 25. We know 1 times 25 is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. But 1 plus 25, that's 26. Is that a 26? Nope. So that is not going to work. 5 plus 5 is 10. Is that a 10? Yes. So our numbers are going to be 5 and 5. Okay, those are our two numbers that we will use to make a perfect square. So x plus 5 times x plus 5. We know that this can equal x plus 5 squared because it's two of them, right? It's two of them, and we know that this right here equals this part of the situation, okay? Now, what happens? We are going to add these two numbers. 6 plus 25, that gives us what? 31, and boom. That's what I want to see. Alright, so you have two problems to do on your own. I will be checking for completion. You have to show your work, and you have to also upload this to Google Classroom for credit. I will put instructions in Google Classroom on how to upload it and what I expect to see, but do know that I expect to see practice 1 and 2. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 2 equals 0. And for number 2, we have x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. Alright, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call me, text me, email me. We could do a video chat. I can do some more examples for you. We can walk through examples together. I'm here for you guys. I hope you guys are staying well, hydrated, and practicing social distancing. I know that this is an unfortunate time for you guys, as well it is for myself. I'm going crazy sitting in the house, but with love and light, we all will get through this. Know that I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I miss each and every one of you. I miss seeing you. I miss joking with you. I miss y'all getting on my nerves, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Love you. Bye.